Clavicular was mid-jester gooning when a group of foids came and spiked his cortisol levels. Is ignoring the foids while munting and mogging moids more important than SMV catfishing in the club? How much of that tweet did you understand? I mean, that is a question that they were no doubt discussing in the symposium. Aristotle would have been a looksmaxxer. That's not even a hot take. You can pause to reread this cultural artifact that will no doubt be featured in multiple linguistics or sociology course PowerPoints. Okay, how about this tweet? This one's a two-parter. Clavicular ran into a frat leader at ASU and got brutally framemogged by him. But do not fret, because help was soon on the way. 6'5" Australian Tara Chad androgenic has flown to the US and bone smash maxed in order to hunt down the ASU frat leader and engage in a mog off to avenge Clavicular after the brutal frame-mog incident that took place last week. I feel like a newscaster in Zoolander. How much of these tweets did you understand? Comment it down below. 50%? 10? 90? 100? It's okay. I won't judge you publicly. Now, there is some context behind these memes that's missing, and we'll get back to the aspiring Ubermensch later. You know what? Okay, what about this more recognizable meme? 6'7". This is the obligatory hand gesture. It just kind of looks like a sad gang sign. When it started making the rounds last year, I'd see this number get, sprinkled in comment sections, and I thought, what is this, like innuendo, or is this a stim? I don't know what's going on with the autists. The ones in my social circle don't respond back to me. I gotta lure them out of their houses with MagFest tickets. Eventually it became even more ubiquitous, and I remembered this moment so clearly. It's not just that I had no idea what it meant. I'm in just no frame of reference. It's that ultimately I didn't care to know. The confusion washed away and was replaced with utter indifference. You know what that felt like? As a brain-rotted individual, I thought to myself, I don't care. I don't care! Finally, the shackles of my brain rot were loosening. I dropped to my knees and I thanked God. I mean, that's a sign that you're getting older, it's just being out of the loop with whatever the youths are saying. And I had no sense of resentment towards the children enjoying the meme. It's fairly innocuous, right? No sense of my own creeping mortality. I'm no longer hip or with it. Good. It's about time. Youth culture, frankly, a lot of pop culture, especially internet culture, it's for the young. And I'm not trying to say that I think I'm old. Like, objectively speaking, I'm not. I'm just saying I'm not that young. Truly young people are the only ones with enough free time and with such few responsibilities that they actually have the ability to be invested in this nuclear level of inconsequential gibberish. If you are an adult and you are familiar with every new slang word and reference and meme that comes out, you're unemployed. How do you have that much free time and energy? If you go to the bank as a post-27-year-old and they hold up this image and ask you, who is this? And your immediate response is, oh, Quandale Dingle. You have just been rejected from every future loan or credit extension. And that's how it should be. I'll see posts made by people around my age, late 20s, somewhere in their early to mid 20s, discussing the harrowing experience of getting called unk by children for the first time. Now, for all of the actual unks out there, unk is just short for uncle. Similar to auntie, but unk tends to have more negative connotations. You'd use it in reference to an older person that you are at least familiar with, right? Like you're cordial. This is not a complete stranger who is not with it. They're not very hip. They're old. But not gramp, right? That's a little older. This is between being a youngin, or a kiddo and a gramp.
Wait, so how old are you again?
25.
Damn! Holy unk status! Didn't know you were that old. Grim Reaper coming at you next year.
What the f*** you mean, unk? I'm 25! Got my whole life ahead of me. I'm young as shit. How old are you?
18?
Holy shit! I was in high school not too long ago. What are you talking about? Everything goes by in a flash. Like what? What do you mean unk? I'm not unk. I'm a young person. I'm a young adult. I haven't even hit 30 yet.
You're right, you're basically on death's door.
It can be odd for some to come to terms with the realization that they're on the older end of the Gen Z spectrum. And more importantly, that Gen Alpha is on our heels. Can you hear the sound of them galloping towards us on all fours? Yeezys on every limb. These are not even 9/11 babies. Post market crash babies, born after the year of Soldier Boy. They came into this world knowing only black presidents. Some of them were conceived when the Harlem Shake was going viral. Those kids can drive this year. Now, it's obvious that a lot of these people, you know, calling these creators unk, or doing it in real life, they're clearly rage baiting, right?
No cap. Just because you are 14, that don't mean I'm unk, bro. You know what I'm saying? That don't mean that, bro. You know what I'm saying? Just because you 11 and a half, that don't mean I'm unk. Unk is 36, 37, damn near 40. Y'all keep closing the gaps. Y'all keep closing the gaps for motherfucking unk. Next, 27 gonna be unk. Y'all just some little ass boppers, bruh.
Unk a little grumpy. Stage 1, denial.
Y'all ruined another term, bro. The term unk is over. Somehow, TikTok brought down the age of unk status from 40 to 18 in 5 seconds. Why are you calling the class of 23 and the class of 22 unks? We just graduated. Like, can y'all stop calling me unk under every one of my videos? I am 19 years old. I am a teenager. I am in Gen Z, and y'all are acting like I'm a senior citizen with a nurse in the passenger seat that's ready to change my diaper. I kid you not, just a year ago, I'd be going out to dinner with my family, and the waiter would ask us if we needed an extra kids menu. And then as soon as I hop on this app, y'all are treating me like I'm a Facebook fossil. And it's not just me either. You guys call anyone an unk. I feel like everyone born in like 05 and before need to band together and fight back. Because I'm not about to let a bunch of sons, nephew, and nieces bully me off of this app by calling me old. We are not that old.
Unk, go take your daily nap. Calm down, Unk. Take your daily pills, Unk. Gen Z is just gonna do to us what we did to millennials. You're gonna cringe at everything that we held dear and thoroughly enjoyed. And you know what? Some of their critiques are gonna be valid, okay? Not all of them, though. Some things are timeless, like the Cheetah Girls soundtrack, or Sneaker Night by Vanessa Hudgens. Put your sneakers on. And that's okay. That's the natural cycle. Frankly, that's how it's supposed to be. We are cringe to them, you know, they're gonna be cringe to whatever post-nuclear roach generation comes after them. You know what happens when you refuse to accept the changing tides, or you can't take, you know, getting poked fun at? This.
Me has a question. Some might believe it impossible to answer. But alas, why is Gen Z so obsessed with millennials? Like, why don't you go focus on your iPad Nano or something, sister? We're just trying to exist and sip on our pumpkin spice lattes. Besides, my doggos think I'm pretty swag. Shouldn't you?
Ma'am, are you really trying to make fun of millennials when your generation doesn't even know proper sentences? I'm Riz. I'm Riz. Like, for real, for real. Cap that. Cap that. Whoa. Whoa. On God. On God. This is what this on God. And then this thing with what is this? What is
Girl, it was a parody video. This is where you gotta read the tags. You know, sometimes you post something, it's not a great take, and then it takes off. She does have great skin, though. I like kids. I think they're interesting. I think it's kind of creepy. They have like 2 sets of teeth. Actually kind of jealous. But I don't need to be validated by them. At least validated in the sense that they think I'm cool. I need them to think I'm funny, desperately. But that's true of like any age group. And it's not just because like I'm bringing a child joy, which is like innocent and, you know, children's laughter like adds years to your life or whatever. It means that I win relative to the other adults here, okay? Because they're not making Mackenzie giggle like me. It is a competition and I'm winning. It's nice to see kids having fun. So if poking fun at me by calling me old, or, you know, like normal childish things like leaving threatening voicemails, or like breaking into my house at night and moving around my furniture until I'm convinced that I'm being haunted. But if that brings them joy, then who am I to get in the way of that childish whimsy? Regarding the Clavicular tweet, if you are unfamiliar, this is a live streamer who is the most prominent looksmaxxer. Basically, aesthetics over everything. They're just trying to optimize their appearance naturally, but also like unnaturally. That's the MO. Okay. Now I saw this tweet and the accompanying responses from people expressing concern about the sort of incelification of our language, a topic that I will discuss on my Patreon, but mostly just expressing confusion. And I had to take a deep breath because I understood like 90% of this tweet. This tweet roughly translates to: the Clavicular, a popular internet streamer, was in the middle of being silly, goofy baby, in a manner that was perhaps a bit too excessive, a bit too try-hardish, when a group of women came and consequently stressed him out. Is ignoring women while being on substances and physically outshining / intimidating / flexing on other men more useful than deliberately trying to find men of high desirability / sexual marketplace value in the club in order to link up and consequently increase your own desirability and status? this. It's a little bit of a rusty translation, okay? I ain't got the full Rosetta Stone. But that is the age-old question that this tweet was trying to convey. Now, for a little bit of context, and thankfully, I knew who Clavicular was. I actually was aware of the ASU meme, mainly because of like light research that I had to do for another video. However, I had no idea who this Australian terror Chad was. For context, okay, Clavicular's a lookmaxxer, blah, 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 you know that. He was on a live stream a few weeks ago where the Arizona State frat leader, who does have an impressive build and the camera just naturally gravitates toward him, framemogged, okay? Framemogged. Upstaged Clavicular. Outshone him. And as revenge, Androgenic, who is an Australian live streamer, like that's his screen name, stage, I don't even know. That's not his legal government name. He's a member of the looksmaxxing community from Down Under, because this is global. So he's coming in to avenge Clavicular. Now, during one of these live streams, and I think it's the same one because he's wearing the same outfit, he got his wig snatched. Look, I'm gonna say this, right? I don't even know if this was actually authentic. This could have been planned. It might have been, all right? This is a recent revelation. I don't care that he's balding. That's not even that big of a deal. If you're blasting gear, of course you're gonna lose your hair. That's the trade-off. They write that on the side of the bottle. I don't think they do, but maybe in fine print. And Mandarin, maybe. I'm confused as to how his bone structure changed. When she yanked that thing off, it had a cap attached to it. They're revolving. They're tapping into levels of wigology I did not even know that they were aware of. Okay, that was a little bit off tangent, but I'm glad I provided some context for you. If you're an older person right now, aren't you glad that you're not tapped into internet culture? I found this little saga fascinating. You see how easy it is for the Brainrot to get to you. I must pull myself away. Now, I understand that regarding these tweets, right, nobody actually talks like this. Like, I've been to the virtual spaces where looksmaxxers congregate, and they will use several of these terms unironically, but not this jam-packed. Like, these tweets are clearly playing it up. They're leaning into the bit. It's in part rage bait. It is fascinating from a linguistic standpoint, though. The sorrow that washed over me as I realized that just as I thought that I had managed to escape the Brainrot shackles, I immediately stumbled into a ravine and twisted my ankle. Clavicular appears. He grins down at me like the Cheshire Cat. His new surgically enhanced Giga Chad jaw blocks out the sun like a mandible eclipse. My saving grace was that I technically learned these terms years ago. Well, most of them. As I remember the earlier days of the incel/looksmaxxing community. Oh yes, I've been on page 10 of Google search.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
I've been on the forums where the whole webpage design hasn't been updated since 2012, if you're lucky. I was a femoid in enemy territory. And let me tell you, I have never felt so empowered. As a mid-tier normie female, I do still have significant dating options. Thank you. I also recently made a video regarding height maxing, where I had to do research on some of these terms, on Mr. Clavicular in particular. The fact that he is like openly doing crystal, I don't know if he still is, he probably is, and he's not even utilizing it to like its full extent. Like, he's not doing like Marjorie Taylor Greene's, you know, in like a playground and live streaming that. You know, if that's what he was getting up to, instead of like awkwardly shimmying in New York City, full suit in the club, who are you, Pitbull? You know, maybe then I'd watch him. The question actually remains, do I still have brain rot? Or is this the culmination of my esoteric internet knowledge combined with my work as what I'd argue is a modern day anthropologist of sorts? The lies we tell ourselves. At this point, I'm actively trying to become Unc. I want kids to look at me and go, wow, she looks like she pays off her credit card twice a week. And I do. I'm not paying interest on those cards. The refusal to accept Unc status, I believe, reflects two things. First is just the general fear of physically aging, which at this point has reached like comical levels, which you mean it's a straw that prevents lip wrinkles. Stop trying to desperately cling onto your youth, okay? Accept the fact that eventually you're just gonna look like a used tissue. That's fine. It's the natural way of things. At that point, your biggest concern isn't gonna be aesthetics. It's gonna be your bladder and the fact that none of your children turned out as well as you thought they would. Getting old is something that's denied to many people, okay? Plus, after a certain age, you can shoplift, then if you get caught, just pretend you have dementia. I don't know why people act like turning 30 is some sort of death sentence. It's really not that old. Like, you ask a 70-year-old person if a 30-year-old is old. If your joints don't hurt when you move, you're still relatively young. Number two is a negative perception of adulthood. I mean, don't get me wrong, adulthood is tougher in in some areas than childhood. But I've seen like 19-year-olds expressing concern about becoming unk. And I don't think they just mean like, I don't know, becoming uncool or corny. I think that what these teens fear is the additional responsibility and dreariness of growing up, where being an adult is just like being a sentient brown suit in this gray overcast world. This is just what England is. And you go to work at, Depression Corp. You pass by your coworkers who are all like literal mannequins, yet somehow you still get the vibe that they don't like you. You get called in to speak to your boss, who's just a black void where a human should be. You're informed that you're getting passed over for a promotion. Greg's getting the job. But Greg is a mannequin, you protest. He's just more valuable than you. You hear champagne being opened in the background. How will they even drink it? They have no mouths. So adulthood is like a Kafka short story. And they wouldn't be entirely wrong, because that is kind of what it's like. I can sympathize with teenagers dreading this potential future, and young people in particular that struggle with certain newfound responsibilities, especially if you were just never taught how to do basic things, never having any financial literacy instilled in you, like you were never taught what a Roth IRA is, like nobody taught you how to cook or cheat on your taxes. Maybe they didn't have any good role models growing up, so they had to learn everything for themselves and basically are playing catch up with their more well-adjusted peers. But my sympathy does have a limit, okay? Because when it comes to the more extreme end of this adult struggle spectrum, there are ways in which some will cling desperately to their youth in a way that is undignified. There is quite a lot of arrested development in our generation, and I don't mean like, the inability to reach traditional milestones of adulthood, like buying a house. Oh, you don't have 1.2 million laying around at 28? Brokey. I mean like standard maturity. The term adulting, it makes my blood boil. Adulting can be hard. I still get nervous making appointments for myself over the phone. You're 29! You know what? Hold on. I think that impression was a little too millennial. Maybe let me make it a little bit more Gen Z, alright? When you've eaten nothing but Lunchables, espresso martinis, cheese slices, chicken nuggies, and Zanny bars for the past 2 years. Very chic, very hashtag girl dinner, very city ratcore. It's the cutesification of bad habits and incompetence that starts to become like actually concerning. The immigrant in me comes out and like a flip-flop manifests in my hand. I'm about to whack you upside the head with it. You've outaged CPS. It's not cute to give yourself scurvy. Eat a vegetable. What are you gonna do? You gonna call the cops? I see that A sticker peeling off of your Stanley Cup. Pick a side. Historically, kids were forced to grow up too quickly. Watching your village get raided at 12 and then getting married off to your cousin the next year, it'll do that to you. Now we have adult summer camp, which is just age regression. Like, you can go camping or canoeing or, I don't know, get like a tick stuck in your leg in the woods or whatever activities they're providing at these places as an adult, independent of these camps. It's not as if these activities are considered unacceptable or are not accessible to adults only, right? In like specifically adult only spaces, especially nowadays. So it seems like the appeal isn't just, some sense of community, but if anything, it's the feeling of being 12 again. Carefree, frolicking. I don't think I ever frolicked as a child, to be honest. I skipped, at least thrice. The idea of these camps is just, it's heartbreaking, but infuriating simultaneously. It's like there's this psychological inability to merge being an adult and still enjoying life. Like, to the point where perhaps these people feel like they have to cosplay being in elementary or middle school in order to feel any sort of wonder and joy. That's why these camps are set up to resemble a childhood sleepawake camp, right? Like, they're tapping into something psychologically. It's meant to be a release. You can be, whimsical in adult life. It is possible. Look, you can agree with me or think this is harsh. The image of a group of 33-year-olds face painting, not a kid in sight. Like, maybe if you're dying of cancer or something and you want to relive your childhood memories, like, okay, I'm not gonna knock you, I don't think you can bring the chemo IV drip, into a kayak, but, have fun. But at a certain point, It's like, you gotta let some of your childhood go. Or at least try and incorporate some of these elements into your actual day-to-day life as an adult. You see what I mean? You can, like, rewire your brain to associate adulthood with joy, you know? I don't have, like, a step-by-step process on how to do that, but I know it is certainly possible. I don't think paying, like, thousands of dollars to go up to Lake Chattanooga by, you know, the spot where Kennedy accidentally drove off of a bridge. I don't think that's actually what happened. R.I.P. to the lady that he killed, though. But I don't think kayaking in those waters is gonna be a long-term solution. Because then you're gonna have to go back to reality. And what, just be miserable 98% of the time? It's like, at best case scenario, it's placing a band-aid on a bullet wound. Now, there is a sentiment that I've seen get repeated amongst, like, people my age. The older that you get, the more you realize,
You know what? The older I get, the more I realize, like...
I get what people mean by this. You realize adults, even the ones in your life, really did not know everything. Some of them did not know a lot. And also, more importantly, this sort of acceptance that you will never really feel like an adult, you know? I don't know if I actually agree with that sentiment. I also don't think that it's a healthy mindset to have. I do agree that there is no age at which, I don't know, you self-actualize and you feel perfectly confident in every area of your life. That's an unrealistic expectation. Because usually once one area or two or three start to go really well, guess who just gets some random familial drama dropped into their lap? Like, eventually, something always happens, you know? And if anything, that's the real hallmark of adulthood. But this mindset can sometimes lead people to never feeling the pressure to get their life together, or at least pushing that deadline well into, like, their 30s, sometimes their 40s. It's like the normalization of dragging out the dumb mistakes of youth far beyond an age where anyone is gonna think it's cute. Please, you're not doing it for the plot. Your life is not a movie. You don't have the plot armor of a protagonist. You're not Carrie Bradshaw. You're a liability. The HR department at your job knows you on a first-name basis. They got your photo up on the wall. They use it as target practice. It's not misogynistic, though, okay? They had a meeting about it. Ever since I turned, I want to say 25, but especially 26, I have actually gradually felt like more of an adult. I think it's mainly because I'm acting like more of one. Being an adult is really just having better habits. You know, better this year compared to last year, better this month compared to last month. That's a more achievable and realistic expectation. And through that, you become more competent and you get a stronger sense of self. If anything, that is the one sort of reassuring thing I would tell young people, is that you do actually feel more confident in yourself as a person. Not in the sense that you have no insecurities anymore. I mean, self-esteem is more holistic than that. But you do get a stronger sense of self as you get older. And that is very comforting. Being forced to take accountability for your life is very daunting. But it's also incredibly empowering. I did an audit of my life. I saw what I could reasonably control. And then I made the necessary changes to make my life look the way I wanted it to look, right? And I'm not there yet. Like, don't get me wrong, okay? And I've lived a very comfortable, privileged life, okay? I'm not even gonna try and pretend like, oh, I dragged myself up by my bootstraps. What is the expression called? But I'm just saying, I used to be, not a mess. I used to be an example that they would use in like a psychology textbook. That's worse. Let's just say I'm better now than I was at 20, okay? And every year, things have gotten slightly better, right? In part because I started acting a little bit more responsible. And that's all that being an adult really is. It's not about hitting a specific goal. And I think that's the message regarding aging that young people should absorb, right? Don't reject it. Don't try and run away from it. Embrace it. It's good. You're supposed to get older. It's normal. The internet is fake. It's not real, okay? It's only real for me because I make money off of it. That's it. You'll be fine, okay? Trust me, you're more competent than you think. You will become more competent. I think that is actually a better approach to it. If you take the necessary steps, you will actually feel like an adult. Don't listen to these people, all right, who are like, oh, gee, I'm 33 and I still feel like a kid. You shouldn't. I'm sorry. I don't like this. I don't like this mentality. It's like, you know, not to shame, but at a certain point, it's like maybe a little bit of shame is good. Shame can be a very strong motivator. Anyway, I think that's a good place to wrap up this video. Like, comment, subscribe, call me Unc. Better yet, call me Auntie. Yeah. As always, thank you for watching. Shout out to my top patrons. If you would like to donate to my Patreon, please click on the link in the description or down below. Thank you to my other lovely patrons. Your names should be scrolling on screen as I speak. Bye.